Welcome to the weekly Homicide Report, the weekly program where we talk about all the people who needlessly died at the hands of another person. Today we're looking at week 8 of 2022. Okay, so if you haven't seen this program before, we're basically following these 8 cities, or LA County. We threw that in there instead of just LA because Chicago needs regular competition. These are the 8 cities we're kind of following, and every week we throw in other cities. But if we look at what's going on this week, we got Chicago is still in the lead, only because LA County, the information was not completely updated at the time that I'm filming this. And so we're leaving them in the lead because they're in the lead. But Chicago's at 81, and Philadelphia, who's coming off a record year and on still a record pace right now, is really trying to hang in there with Chicago. Philadelphia is at 79 right now, only 2 behind Chicago. And if you want to look at these 2 cities by population, Chicago has about 2.7 million people and Philly has about 1.5. So Chicago has over 1 million people more than Philly, but they're keeping up this year. And here's just a quick look at Philadelphia on where they were at this time in previous years. And you can see that the 79 that they're at right now is well ahead of where they were in 2021 and way ahead of where they were in previous years. They've been on a steady increase for a while. Going back to 2018, it's been on a steady increase since 2018. They're at double what they were, back in 2016, 2015. And then we're looking at Baltimore, who's right on pace with where they were at last year with the 51. And if we go down to St. Louis and Milwaukee, Milwaukee is coming off a record year and they're on a record pace. And if you compare the 2 cities, St. Louis, which pulled ahead of Milwaukee last week they were behind them, but if you look at St. Louis, the population of St. Louis is 316,000, and the population of Milwaukee is almost 600,000. So St. Louis is half the size, basically, of Milwaukee. Vegas is about the same size as Milwaukee, maybe a little more people. They're at about 613,000. And Columbus, which actually has the least on this list, they have 837,000 people. Columbus is coming off a record year, and that's why they're on here. And this is just a quick look at some of the statistics for Milwaukee. And you can see that the age of who's being killed, the majority is the 18 to 29 age group. 86% being shot, 89% being black, 6% white, 3% Hispanic, 3% Asian, 71% male, and you can see 74% no charges were filed. Like I said earlier, the LA County numbers weren't updated, so I'm just leaving that blank for right now. But Philadelphia actually exceeded Chicago this week, at least in far as how the numbers were reported. They got 11. They're on pace to exceed what they did last year. Chicago had 10. Vegas, 6, which is kind of a lot. And Baltimore is still looking at, the ones with the stars next to them are on pace to match what they did in 2021. And Milwaukee with the double asterisks is on pace to exceed what they did in 2021. So Milwaukee in 2021 had 1 murder about every 43, 44 hours. And right now they're on pace for every 38 hours they have a homicide. So they're well ahead of where they are at for an average of 2021. So last week I did a video on a mass shooting in Charleston, Missouri, where 2 people died and 14 people were injured, with 4 still in serious or critical condition. So Charleston, Missouri has a population of 5,800 people with a very low livability ranking of 49. And you can see on here that everything is ranked an F, pretty much, except the cost of living. Everything is ranked an F. But the cost of living is actually, it must be really cheap to live there. And here's just a quick look at the demographics of the town. Again, there's about 5,800 people. So it's a very small town in Missouri. And so I bring this up because this was the largest mass shooting that we'd had in the United States so far in 2022, definitely the largest. And it was the largest since the October 10th, 2021 mass shooting in St. Paul, Minnesota, where 15 people were injured and 1 killed. We're going to take a look at St. Paul, Minnesota, because that's another city that's having major issues with homicides this year. They're on pace to far exceed their record-breaking 2021 year. So let's take a closer look at St. Paul, Minnesota. They have a population 297,000, so a smaller big city. And the livability score of 66, cost of living is bad, employment is bad. And you look at crime and schools are both at an F. And I would wonder if that's got any kind of correlation between the crime being high and the schools being so bad. And you can see the crime, everything, these are 2020 stats. Everything is up. So if we look at this here, you can look and you can see the numbers of where they are, where St. Paul is at compared to Minnesota and compared to the national average. And if you even look down here, the state of Minnesota, which you wouldn't think it would be, is actually high in a lot of these categories compared to the national average. Which brings us to the homicides. So in 2020, they tied their 1992 record of 34. 2021, they set a new record with 38. And currently right now there's 8, and they're on pace for 54 homicides this year, which is well above their record. And I'm going to finish up again with the murder-suicides. Again, these numbers are just ones that were done with a gun. It's hard to get numbers of all of them, so I'm just focusing on the ones that were done using a gun. Through week 8, we're at 107. We were at 98 last week, so that was a total of 9 for week 8. And right now we're on average of 1 every 12.3 hours. And last year in 2021, we averaged 1 every 15 hours. And in a record-breaking year, 3 back in 2019, 2019 had the most in recent history with 632. And that was an average of 13 or 1 every 13.8 hours. So we're well ahead of where we were in 2019 when there were 632 that year. So that's all I got for you this week. Thanks for watching. I'll be back again next week to give you an update on where we are at in week 9 of 2022. Until then, have a good week, and I'll see you next week.